A woman in comedy finally met her match.
New York Times described you as a cruel queen bee.
Miserable, bitter, lonely woman.
Have you been married? Engaged?
Not really.
Why?
Because you were just too angry with everybody.
Who would ever want to be with her?
Jaws dropped as Chelsea Handler fell head over heels for rap superstar 50 Cent.
He's the baddest man in hip-hop.
You're very, very cute.
Do you have a boyfriend?
He started sending her 50 roses at a time.
He's a great guy.
I deserve you.
Were you in love with her?
Yeah, she's cool, man.
Were you in love?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Chelsea flew off the handle when she heard 50 was talking to his ex, Sierra.
Telling me this girl wants to get back together with you.
I found it very funny, the things that she was saying.
You lied, and men lie.
I do what I want to do.
I just wanted to fight.
You ever wrestle an alligator? That's what it's like to be with Chelsea Handler.
I'm so angry. I'm so angry.
Why can't Chelsea Handler stop fighting everyone she meets?
Your childhood had something that was very sad. It was like a dirty secret. It was too painful.
What actually happened to Chelsea Handler to make her this angry?
Hurt. I'm hurt.
My whole world fell apart.
My brother died when I was 9 years old. He looked me in the eye and said, I will never leave you. I'm coming back. I'm like, please don't go away. I don't like it when you're gone. I was the youngest. He was the oldest.
He was hiking in the Grand Tetons, and he literally fell 80 feet off of a cliff.
My dad was never the same after my brother died. So the two men whose center of attention I had been pulled out from under me.
After my brother died, they would just forget about me all the time.
He promised he would come back, and he didn't. And my life from that moment on was about not believing anybody ever again, because you couldn't rely on a person ever again.
Chelsea hid her pain behind her loud personality.
You're just a typical youngest child attention seeker.
Comedian Chelsea Handler might just be the hardest working woman in showbiz right now. She's busy with her hot late night show.
Maybe Elton John needs something other than the sun to go down on him. You keep interrupting me!
Don't encourage her.
It was a great opportunity for comics and for all my friends to be able to give your friends jobs. It's a great thing.
When Chelsea invited her friend Joe Coy onto the show, she had no idea the impact he would have.
He and Chelsea just hit it off. She got me on the show, and I was on it like every week.
We would go at it face to face. We used to write jokes backstage.
He was around all the time. All the things he did, I was like, this guy really cares about me.
But Chelsea was so guarded that she couldn't let Joe in.
I remember feeling he had a crush on me.
We see it on the show, that the back and forth between you two.
I felt like you were like brother energy.
I have a long pattern of ditching relationships. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it. I have to focus on work.
But one guest on her show caught Chelsea off guard.
My next guest is a multi-platinum rapper. You're very, very cute. You know this, right?
Do you have a boyfriend?
He came on my show and he sent me a bunch of flowers. He's the complete antithesis of what you would imagine.
The rapper has already met Chelsea's family after just a few months, and he's reportedly even been invited to join them on a family vacation.
But just when things were getting serious, a phone call from 50 about his ex Sierra sent her spiraling.
Telling me this girl wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me. Is that what you're saying? And he's like, yeah.
What happened with Chelsea?
She created her own story of it all.
I called him probably the worst thing you could say to a person, being like a gangster. And I hung up.
Were you in love with her?
Yeah, she's cool, man.
Were you in love?
I'm not going to answer that question.
And Chelsea's walls came up again as she hit back.
I was just sampling and seeing what was out there.
I don't need anybody to look after me.
You ever wrestle an alligator? That's what it's like to be with Chelsea Handler.
Chelsea pushed everyone away until she had nowhere left to turn.
I kind of had a mental breakdown.
I don't think love is the answer. Obviously, I'm alone and single and lonely.
After 7 years, Chelsea Handler is saying goodbye to her late night show.
I just wanted to fight people. It was exhausting, and how can you have real moments when you're moving so fast?
All alone with her anger, Chelsea finally had to face the real problem.
You'd never been in touch with the anger that your brother betrayed you for leaving you by dying.
My 9-year-old brain took that as rejection. I thought he left me because he found a better sister and a better family. I didn't have the brain capacity to understand that it was an accident. And then you realize this is the reason why you're not in a relationship, because you're so scared a man will leave you.
There was so much pain inside of me that presented as anger.
But everything changed for Chelsea when her therapist offered her a simple piece of fruit.
He said, hey, I picked this off my tree. I thought you might like an orange.
I went to the backyard to get that orange for you.
When he handed me this orange, it was a turning point. It was just the simple act of kindness of a man like looking after me and me saying, yes, I'll take it, instead of going, I don't need anything from you. I don't need anything from any man, because the last time I trusted somebody, that's what happened.
For so long, I was pretending I didn't want to be in a relationship to be tough and be independent and fierce.
I do want to experience big love. I want to fall head over heels in love with somebody.
Now Chelsea could finally see the love she'd been looking for all along.
There was one day where I was performing in Vegas and he came to my show, and I'll never forget, he walked into my hotel room and I just looked at him and I saw him in a different way.
Our friendship went to that next level.
I just feel so completely safe, and I feel like, oh, this is family.
By facing her grief, Chelsea showed the world that it's never too late to change.
There's no shortcut through grief. You can't go around it. You can't ignore it. You have to go through it.
So I had to really dig deep and get my stuff sorted out.
And I got way more than I could have ever asked for. And it just keeps getting better because now I'm awake. Life just becomes easier when you stop fighting everything and lean into the good stuff.